QSO Today, episode 472, Dov Gavish, 4Z4DX. This episode of QSO Today is listener-sponsored. Only you can keep the QSO Today podcast coming to you every weekend since 2014. Please become a listener sponsor monthly or annually by clicking on the sponsor banner on the show notes page or at the top of the QSOtoday.com webpage. I want to thank Guy Lemieux, VE2BWL, for his generous donation this week. Welcome to the QSO Today podcast. I'm Eric Guth, amateur call sign 4Z1UG, where I demonstrate the diversity and relevance of the amateur radio hobby and its impact on society by interviewing ham radio operators, many of whom played vital roles in shaping our technology through the amateur radio hobby. And while many people might say, ham radio, do people still do that? This podcast demonstrates through in-depth interviews just how amazing, diverse, and dynamic the amateur radio hobby continues to be. Last week, in my introduction to Ron Gang 4X1MK, I accidentally switched the introduction that I'd made in the previous week for Tony Fishpool G4WIF. I had too many audio tracks up at the same time on Audacity and just screwed it up. Sorry, Ron. I did fix it right away. The introduction to Ron is important as he lives in Kibbutz Urim, right in the middle of the area where terrorists murdered over 1,500 of Ron's neighbors from neighboring kibbutzim. Miraculously, Kibbutz Urim was spared. Ron and his family are safe and out of the area now. If you haven't heard that episode, please listen to it at your convenience. In an attempt to wean myself off of the big social media platforms, where existence and free speech may get you canceled, I created a community forum system where the QSO Today Academy actually lives, using the same hosted software platform as QRZ. You can get to it by going to the QSOTodayCommunity.com. If you are a listener sponsor, then you have access to all of the resources that include the last QSO Today Academy weekend and all of the videos that have been created in the QSO Today Virtual Ham Expo since we started in August of 2020. If you are not a listener sponsor, you can still join in the conversations that we have about amateur radio. The forum pulls together all of the podcast episodes as well as my blog posts all into one neat package. Please join me by going to the QSO Today Academy today to start a conversation with me about your favorite ham radio subject. I am journaling my war experience here on the QSO Today website. You can read it by clicking on the blog menu item at the top of the QSO Today webpage at qsotoday.com/blog. Because of the war here, I have been too busy holding down the home front to be in the ham radio interviewing mode. My brain is distracted now, and to be fair, interviewing ham radio operators demands my complete attention to my guests. I pray for a speedy end to the matzav, the Hebrew word we use for the situation, so I'm reprising another episode from years ago. This one is Dov Gavish, 4Z4DX. In these times, I wanted to bring you the Israeli hams that you may have heard before, and that they, like me, are only 1 degree of separation from the victims of terror, or have sons, grandsons, friends, and extended family on one of the many fronts of this war. Dov is one of Israel's best-known amateur radio operators outside of Israel, an avid DXer and DXpeditioner. Even before Parks on the Air or Summits on the Air, Dov used to carry a rig in his car ready to go at a moment's notice. And while CW is his favorite operating mode, Dov prefers to work whatever mode works just to make the contact. 4Z4DX is my QSO Today. 4Z4DX, this is Eric, 4Z1UG. Are you there, Dov?
Yeah, hello, Eric. 4Z1 United Germany. This is 4 Zulu 4 Delta X-ray, over.
Dov, thanks for joining me on the QSO Today podcast. Can we start at the beginning of your ham radio story? When and how did it start for you?
All right, thank you. I was born in the kibbutz near Nazareth, and in the age 11, I lost my mother. So my father, 4X4 Victor Bravo, looks for some hobby that he and me can make together. So that's the time we start this hobby. We learn from the books, and in Israel every year in Passover we have a test So first we go to the novice, and then a year after, I get my 4Z4DX license. And later, I'm also 4Z1DX, but I'm so famous with this 4Z4, so I didn't change it. I stay with this call sign.
So the way that ham radio licenses are at least structured in Israel is that the 4X1 and the 4Z1 are the highest level of license, but you must have gotten some kind of special permission to keep the 4Z4 with the higher grade of license, or do you hold both licenses?
I have both license, but I have 450,000 QSOs in LOTW and EQSL, so I don't have no reason to change the call sign anymore. So I have two licenses.
But you have a special permission to operate 4Z4 DX in the extra class area of the band?
Roger, roger.
That's the nice thing about Israel. It's small enough you can actually do those kinds of things.
Yeah, and my son, by the way, is 4Z5 DX. My son, Matan, is also active.
As active as his father?
No, not much. He's busy, married, his job, and he has another hobby, Iron Man. Not so much, but we are time to time is operate for my station.
You and your father were hams back in the 60s. What was ham radio like in Israel in those days? Were there lots of hams?
No, very few. We start on the AM equipment, 40 watt and dipoles, and then we changed to a Gelosa receiver and the 10A equipment, 10 watt CW, and we built in the kibbutz three different HB9CV monobenders, so we're quite loud, only 10 watts. And in a six-day war, we have many volunteers from Colombia in the kibbutz, and they come to the shack to speak to the father in Colombia, and the QRM and so on. So it was very hard to them to make a good QSO. So this Colombian guy sent me TL4, my first Drake TL4, and it was my equipment, 300 watt, my first one. So I was really loud with this transceiver those days in the end of the 60s, starting the 1970s.
So that was your first commercial equipment there at the kibbutz. What did you do for antennas? Were you using wire antennas, or did you build your own beams? What did you do there? Yeah.
We started with dipoles, and then we built in the kibbutz three monobenders, HB9CV, for 20, 15, and 10, and it worked quite good.
And those were homebrew or commercial?
No, homebrew, all homemade.
When you say HB9, these were the call sign of the guy that designed these?
Yes, call sign of the design it. It's two-element beam. It's very famous that time. It was famous.
I read on your QRZ page that you were early into SSTV. How did that start for you in Israel?
After we received the Drake's TR4, and we're looking for something different. I always looking for something different in this hobby. So the SSTV looks like something that I must start with it. So we buy an old robot model, Robot 400 SSTV to the shack, and we start making QSO. Instead of using F1, F2, F3, we just change the cartoon. Cartoon number 1, CQDX. Cartoon number 2, my name is Dov. Number 3, thank you for the QSO, and things like that. So this is the first SSTV. It's worked fine. I make 100 of QSOs, and it's really like it. My father and me, we use the same station, and I have to go to the army. So he stay alone at home, and he start something new, and it was just after the war, and many people from all over the world like to talk to the Israeli station. So he make on 14320 a Jewish net a Jewish net. I think still now this net is active, and they speak English.
Uh-huh.
And they also make a special bulletin called Chaverim without Mem Sofit, because the friendship is forever.
Uh-huh.
That's what my father do. I was QRT for 7 years because I was in the army, and I was a colonel in the end. And then I back home. I'm married, two kids, and I moved to another QTH near Tel Aviv called Ramat HaSharon. Then I built everything new. I buy my first Kenwood. We have someone from a Volvo company. His name is Israel, and he bring all the Kenwood equipment with a very good price to the Israeli.
By the way, I remember Israel and his Volvo company. He was the importer for Kenwood.
That's right.
Right.
So I start with all the Kenwood. I start with the 120, 130, 140, all of them. 440, 430, 850, 930. And my last one was 950. See, after the 950, the Kenwood was, I don't know why, the quality maybe changed. So I moved to ICOM. So I'm still using now the ICOM 7300 for the digital mode. And I start something very, very new after the JT65. Just a few days ago, I started the FT8. It's just unbelievable how this digital mode make. When no condition, nothing on the air, I call CQ, and in the middle of the day, calling me everywhere. All bands. In the morning, 20 meters, and then it switched to 15 meters, 15, 17 meters. When it's dark, we start 30 meter, and at midnight, 40 meter. Very, very strange. And for CW, I'm using my K3 line, K3 and the KP500. And I used to have big antennas, the KLM, 6-element KLM, and above I have the 402BA, 2 elements for 40 meter. But I sold the house 5 years ago because no one in the house. So we have big house and only me and my wife. So we moved to a small house now, a new one, but no more big antennas. So now what I do, I establish a QTH up in the Galilee, and I'm operating a remote. I have the ICOM 7100 in the Galilee, and via the Wi-Fi, I use the remote from here. So it's quite fine, and I like it very, very much.
Now, are you using like a remote rig or some kind of attachment that goes in the middle of that in order to make that work? Or does the 7100 just, is it IP out of the control head so you can just plug that into your router?
No, the station is in the Galilee. I only have the head of the 7100.
Right, but how do you connect the head to the internet?
I have Wi-Fi, and I have also 2 boxes made in Scandinavia. It's RRC 1258. Radio Charlie 1258 Mark II remote income. Made in Kalix, Sweden. So 2 boxes. Price is about $500 for the 2 boxes. 1 box here, 1 box in the Galilee, and it's work fine.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. And do you have beam antennas that turn and stuff up there?
I can do everything with a remote. I can open the linear. I can turn the antenna. Everything I can do. By the way, I was in. We just come back from Germany, from Friedrichshafen, and I was there with the Israeli group. And on the back home, I stopped in Liechtenstein, in HB0 Whiskey Romeo. And I remember last time I was in Liechtenstein. Liechtenstein is a country between 2 big mountains. It's impossible to go out to make QSOs. And I visit my friend, HB0WR, and I tell him, what's going on with HF? He told me, we are lucky. We receive a big house on a mountain. We are 4 people in Switzerland, and we have a password, and everyone can go, and we built the same, but as I have, the same station, remote station, also the same box made in Sweden. So now they can go and they can make QSOs. I stay a few hours in his shake. I make many QSOs in Liechtenstein from the remote station there.
Well, I think this remote control stuff was going to be popular in Israel because we live in a kind of high density situations with a lot of electronic noise. So finding a friend with a hilltop house is probably going to be the number one thing for us out here. Let me go back a little bit, just to get a bigger picture. Did ham radio play a part in the choices for your education and career? Did you work in radio or something like that?
No. It's only hobby. It's only my hobby. And also now I'm volunteer. I'm teaching small people here in Herzliya. And I volunteer in the Ministry of Communication for the examination. It's only a hobby.
And when you say you volunteer teaching small people, are that people who are short or young people?
Young people.
You already mentioned what your rigs are. What's your favorite rig?
Well, I like the K3 for many years, but tell you the truth, last year when the ICOM 7300 come to my shake, most of the time, and also the condition not so good, so most of the time on digital modes. And the ICOM is a little bit better on digital mode. Simple, only one cable.
One USB cable, right?
Yeah, one USB cable.
Yeah, amazing.
I have USB for the K3. I have the signaling, but it's complicated, and I have problem to turn and to tune and everything. And this 7300, I come just one cable, and I use RTTY, PSK, and when the condition is so bad, that's what you have to do is digital mode, But of course, I like K3. I think it is the best rig in the market for sure. But for digital, I prefer the ICOM.
But your favorite mode is what?
It used to be CW when we have condition. I was maybe 70% CW.
And that's always been the case. You've always preferred CW. Although you showed me a little tour of your shack before we started, and you have a little bit of everything. So you're not afraid to move into different modes when the mood suits you. Well,
when you are retired, it is me. My boss is now the cluster. Packet cluster is my boss. I open the cluster looking for something nice, and also I usually make 4 contests in a year. The CQWW, CW, and SSB. I used to work for the number one. I was 2-time number one in the world, CQWW. I have here on the wall. One from Cyprus in 1987 as Zulu Charlie 4DX, and one from here, from Israel on 20 meters. I get a special permission, 4Z8DX on 20 meters CW. And many time number one in Asia. But my last CQWW was maybe 2 years ago, when I see that condition is going down. So I say, nothing to do. I just participate for a few hours. In fact, every weekend I'm looking for any contest. I try to help the people, like Scandinavian contest, Bulgarian contest, Czech. I just call. I have many friends. Over the 60 years I'm on the air, I have so many friends. So I just call them, make them their point. I know they need Israel, and not so many Israeli people on the air. So I know they're happy. I receive after the contest letters and emails that thank you so much for giving me the point, the multipliers.
Do you remember a time when Israel had a lot more hams on the air?
No, we are lucky. From 1991, Israel received 1 million people, and from them, 100 people amateur radio.
This is Eric parenthetically. What Dov is referring to is that Israel absorbed 1 million Russian immigrants in the 1990s as a result of the falling apart of the Soviet Union. And amongst that 1 million Russians was 100 amateur radio operators.
Yeah, very good. They're very good operators. They know how to fix old equipment and are very skilled. I like them very much. They don't speak Hebrew. They don't speak English. So they are mostly on CW, but very nice guys. Before 1991 was few. I remember we have VHF frequency, a simplex frequency for the DXer. For many years we about 5, 6, always less than 10 people active in Israel on DXer. Now, of course, it's WhatsApp, so it's easy. No, we don't need simplex, but not so many active from Israel lately.
I have the call book, or at least the spreadsheet that has almost 2,300 names of licensees in Israel. Was there ever a time when it seemed like there were actually more people operating, say, phone patches to North America? I mean, that's kind of what I remember maybe 35, 40 years ago, but when I was here briefly as a student. But it doesn't seem, as you say, it doesn't seem to be that there's that many people on the air anymore.
Yeah, what's happened that the 20,000, what you say is the old people make the examination and get novice. Most of them are novice and things like that. They start. Only 1,000 officially from the Ministry of Post. 1,000 officially we have licensed this year, and 500 of them are members in our group, in our Israeli group, half. And from the 500, maybe 400 on VHF, DMR, UHF. Things like that, and 100 people. I know because we have Holy Land contest every year in April, and we receive a maximum 100 logs from the Israeli. Last year was 87 logs, but it's around 100 people have HF station here in Israel.
And now this mid-show break. The future of podcasting and the QSO Today podcast is listener sponsorship. It keeps us lean and focused on providing you the best ham radio interviews since 2014. You can keep the QSO Today podcast commercial and sponsor-free by becoming a listener sponsor yourself. For $10 a month, or save 20% at $100 per year, you can become a listener sponsor. I am now recording the QSO Today podcast as video interviews that are available only as a benefit to listener sponsors through our QSO Today community website. As I develop the sponsorship tier, I will add bonus content for listener sponsors. Listener sponsors, not donors, are automatically members of the new QSO Today Academy. I am building the Academy website to include access to our Sequel.io networking lounges all of the time and Academy resources including over 400 previous Expo presentations with Q&A and additional helpful ham radio educational resources. The benefit of listener sponsorship as an alternative to commercial sponsorship is that commercial sponsors influence the content and comments in the podcast. Listener sponsorship allows a greater degree of freedom to discuss any ham radio subject without commercial consequence. I have eliminated all commercials in the QSO Today podcast from episode 445, with the exception of the Ham Radio Workbench podcast, as I think that this is a serious asset to a well-rounded ham radio education. I am not using Buy Me a Coffee or Patreon, but my own system for managing the community that could form out of the podcast. I direct you to the sponsorship section of the show notes pages beginning with the episode 444, where I list all of the contributors to the podcast since 2014, including sponsors, donors, and hams who have paid for transcriptions. If sponsorship is not your interest, then you can make any size donation to the podcast by clicking on the donation button on the QSO Today podcast website at qsotoday.com. There is a slider that you can use to adjust the amount of your donation. If you want to make your donation monthly, click on the recurring donation box. It is the recurring donations and the listener sponsorships that keep the lights burning here. Finally, you don't have to contribute anything to listen to the QSO Today podcast. You can use my Amazon affiliate link before shopping at Amazon by clicking on it on the right side of the show notes page. This will signal Amazon to send us a small percentage of what you purchase. This is the most painless way to ensure that the QSO Today project will be here next week. I want to thank everyone who has contributed and will contribute to my effort to create this oral history of amateur radio since 2014. It will eventually all be in the public domain for hams in the future to enjoy. Be sure to become a listener sponsor or make a donation today. And now we return to our QSO Today. Most of our listeners are in the USA, and I know that you've operated from all over the world, and if anybody goes into your QRZ page, they're going to see that you've been very careful about listing all of the places and all of the expeditions and stuff that you've been on. Does the world sound differently from Israel than it does from the USA in terms of what you're working and what you're hearing mostly and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I was in the USA in the WRTC contest, in the German contest, and I operate Dave QTH, K1TTT, with a special called Whiskey Radio 1 Tango Charlie. Well, this is an amazing QTH, so this station, you don't know that no more condition on the air, always condition. But it was great. And what I see in the state that the 80 meter is very, very popular. I was on 80 meter in the contest, and N2KW was on 40 meter, and it was SSB contest, and I really have problem to find a clear frequency on 80 meters. Whenever I say frequency news, no, it's a many net frequency on 80 meter in the USA. Here, this area, nothing at all. It used to be many years ago Russian net, but no more, no anymore. No net on 80 meters here. Here's empty, only in contest. 80 meter here is open only in the contest. So amazing. And I work from K1 TTT almost all the states. Just unbelievable. I like it.
With less than 100 Israeli low-band operators on the air, active on the air, then it would make sense that 80 meters is really quiet here, because it would be just for local conversation for the most part.
No, it's not only in Israel, 80 meter. You can, if you open the 80 meter, no, also European. No, European also not active at all. What you see in the morning on CW, only on CW I can hear a couple of stations. It's also noisy. The 80 meters is very noisy on 80 meters. So not only in Israel. And in Israel, we use 40 meter at the SCAD every Saturday in the morning on 7130, 10 o'clock local time. By the way, it's a tradition. When I was a boy, I remember every Saturday, that time the people build their own AM transmitter. So every Saturday, everyone check how is my audio. QX, I change the audio. I put DSP. I change. Everyone build all the week, change the equipment, and the Saturday was a place to check to get a report, to receive information how it look like. That's the local QSO. We have, by the way, VHF, UHF, and DMR repeaters all over Israel. At any point, if you drive from the north to the south, from border of Lebanon to Eilat, there's always a repeater ready for you. Once in a week, in the Tuesday evening, we have a magazine on R7,
which is the Tel Aviv repeater.
Yeah, Tel Aviv repeater, and that's the most of the people are active and listen. What's the news?
There's an effort to bring All-Star and DMR and connect them all across the country. So at some point, I would imagine within the next year or so, we'll be able to talk on all the repeaters simultaneously from one end of the country to the other. Yeah,
for sure. I also use a DMR and connect to my computer so I can talk to the world. With no condition, I can switch my computer and I can talk via the DMR to the world. Although also, just start. When I come on the repeaters in the States, also not so big activity.
Now, you're a big DXpeditioner, and if, again, looking at your QRZ page, you have lots of call signs. How did you get into DXpeditions, and where have you gone? What's the most exotic place that you've gone?
Well, my first one was to Cyprus, country near to Israel. There was a British club station it's Zulu Charlie 4, and they asked me to come to help them to build the club station. So I told them I like to come to help, but I like to get my own call sign. So they give me the ZC4DX, Zulu Charlie 4DX, and with this call sign, I make a new score on 80 meters, world score. And it was my first. I was 2 times in Cyprus, in the CKW, and also the SSB. This was a little one. The next one was in 1995, late King Hussein, which I know him very, very well because sometimes we meet on 80 meters, on 40 meter, and we talk, with no permission to the Arabic people to talk to Israel, but we talk by names, Hi Dov, hi His Majesty. So I know him quite well, and 1 year after the peace agreement between Israel and Jordan, his idea was to organize the expedition in Jordan on Mount Nebo. If you remember from the Bible, what's happened in Mount Nebo?
Moses dies on Mount Nebo.
And also his 12 spies he sent to Israel to look what's going on there. So what's going on? He sent me a fax to ask me to bring 6 Israeli, and he brings 6 Jordanian, and he make a special license. Everyone has his own license. My Jordanian license is Juliet Yankee 8 Whiskey, and the group license, he gave us 2 licenses from Mount Nebo, JY7 4 Zulu, and from Amman, from the club station, the Hussein club station, JY7 4X. We stay about 10 days in Amman, and he was the king was one of the operator, and everyone before start the QSO, they say this is to show the world that Jewish, Hebrew, and Arabs and Jordanian can sit together and talk peace and talk to the world together. It was a great time. It was a king, and just very, very good memories for the future.
Is JY8WW call sign still valid?
Not valid, but I have just when I like to go there, I just have to send them a fax, and no problem. Once you have your first license, it's easy to go get again. It's the same call sign.
Now, obviously, King Hussein has passed away. Is there still an active club in Jordan?
Yeah, there is a club. There's 2 people still active. I'm in contact with them. One of them is a Dr. Ali, and one of them is one man from Serbia working in United Nations, JY9 Fox Charlie. He's at the active station now, most active. I think he's working from the club. The call sign of the club is JY JY6 Zulu Zulu, JY6ZZ. The club is still running there.
There's a Israeli website where you have posted some stories, but one of the stories is that you decided to go to Nepal and work DX from Nepal. How did that come about, and how did that turn out?
Okay, I have my first Nepal DXpedition was in 2003. It all happened when in Israel, in the Yaru Convention, was in Israel, in Tel Aviv.
That's the IARU, the International Amateur Radio Union Convention, right?
Yeah, Raja. It was in 1999, and I met Satish, 991AA, and I asked him that I like to make the expedition to Nepal, the memory from my friend Fazil Moran, 991 Mickey Mouse, and things like they say. It's take about 4 years since we make it, and I asked for the call sign 9 and 7 DX. For Satish is a lawyer, very close to the king, to the family of the king. His wife is one of the family of the king. Very nice person. It's only two guys in Nepal active, 991AA, 991 Hotel Alpha, and now the daughter of 991AA just start lately, I see. And by the way, he's also start FT8, the digital mode. He was one of the first QSO I made a few days ago, and very exciting. So I came there to Nepal with my son for that 5DX. I stopped in India, in Mumbai. I made Sarla, VU2 sugar, whiskey sugar, and 3 days with her in Mumbai. Then I left to Kathmandu, and I also met 9 and 7 some guys from Norway, and he as my son helped me to put antennas. I just put 3 dipoles, 3 for 20. Dipole inverted V to 20, 15, and 10. And after a few days, I also put dipole for 40 meter. It's take about 4 days to get the license.
What did you have to do to get the license over that 4 days? It's my understanding that it was actually, quite an undertaking.
Yeah, what you have to do is you go to 991AA. He's the key to get the license. He's a lawyer. He's printing letter to the government asking that Dov for that 4DX looking for the license for 7 days to 14 days. The rig, the equipment is Icon 7000, 100 watt, and you have to pay each band $50. So I asked 4 bands. I paid $200, but first you have to wait for the answer. It take about 1 or 2 days from the government. When you get the answer, you have to go to the post, to the bank to pay. No computer in the bank, so you have to wait another 2 days to get the permission and that you pay. So after 4 days, you receive the license. You go on the air. An unbelievable pilot. Just me and my son work all days, just non-stop. And every 1 hour I change for RTTY and work. I know many people. It was the first time ever they work in Nepal on RTTY. I also switched one day to SSTV, but no more the old what I have in the kibbutz. I have now SSTV on the software called MixW. So it was easy than 50 years ago. It was my first in 2003. I make about 20,000 QSO back home. Make some trek in the Himalaya with my son, and very happy. What happened in 2011, in my age, 60 years old, and me and my wife decide to make my party in the Himalaya, and to make 60 years anniversary in the Himalaya. That's what was the idea. So we go 6 months before to Satish with my wife and his wife. By the way, his wife now also licensed. She got the license of Mr. Fazer Moran. She's 9 and 1 Mickey Mouse. He gave us his car, and we took about 1 week to find the place, because Kathmandu is not good QTH for the expedition. It's noisy and down the valley. So we find a big hill, 3,000 meters above the sea level, that opens 360 degrees. Also there is a small hotel with a restaurant and power supply and things like that. And we announced that in six months we will be in the Himalaya with a group. So I called my friend from the Italian group, MDXC, Mediterranean DX Club, Mr. Antonio. And it's okay. So we organize 16 people.
16 people from the Mediterranean DX Club.
Yeah, Mediterranean DX Club from Italy, Belgium, French, Charlie Echo, Yankee Bravo, and Mexico, ex-Iwan Lima, Luis. Luis is a Jewish, my friend for many, many years. And so we set up this station in November. We make 6 stations on the air, all mode, unbelievable, all the equipments, and it was amazing how things go there. Just excellent condition, excellent QTH, all organized by food, by electricity, and we have, of course, the people when they are shifting, not shift, they also make some trekking in the Himalaya, and we made about 30,000 QSOs. We also help a doctor, an American doctor, live not far away from our QTH. We find him by chance. 9 November 1 Fox Echo, he's a doctor, and he's there 3 years. He's also an American. He was from Puerto Rico, Whiskey Papa 4 Fox Echo, and I met him in the hospital after the expedition, and I met from his QTH CQWWCW. It was lucky. It was just after we finished. I have 2 days before going back home. What's going on with this guy? He's not CW operator, only SSB, and he told me that 3 years he's there, and he cannot make any QSOs for Himalaya and a good QTH. So I have the software, the digital software, and I put him there on the laptop, and I teach him how to work digital mode like RTTY, PSK, and he was so happy. The moment we finished to put the software, he called CQ 9 and 1 Fox Echo, and so many people call him. He's so happy that every day he was just unbelievable, because SSB in the Himalaya in 100 watt and dipole, really no chance. But digital mode, you see, this is a big difference. So we back home, we make nice QSL card, nice video and things like that, and people are very happy. Lots of experience. You know, we every day we change the antennas, we make a new one on 80 meters, especially in low band. We put a new antenna in the morning, test it in the night, and see what's going on. If it's better. If not, the other night we put another antenna. So it's really amazing on the technical side and also on the communication.
I want to take a minute to tell you about my favorite podcast, the Ham Radio Workbench Podcast, with George, KJ6VU, and now joined by Rod, VA3ON, Mike, VA3MW, Mark, N6MTS, and Vince, VE6LK. Every 2 weeks, George and company offer up a status report on the many amateur radio projects on their workbenches and explore projects on their guests' workbenches. This group is project active and prolific, covering many technical areas of amateur radio. So the next time you want a deep dive into ham radio electronic project building, or to learn about technology, tools, test equipment, construction techniques, and the rest, listen to the Ham Radio Workbench podcast, available on every podcast player and channel. Use the link in this week's show notes page to get to the Ham Radio Workbench podcast directly. And now back to my QSO. I saw a picture of you sitting in the water off the coast of Israel, literally in the water, the table's in the water with all the gear on top of the table, and you're making operating CW and making QSOs. That was, I think, part of the 4X0AI team. Can you talk a little bit about that? Was like islands on the air or something like that. Could you talk a little bit about what that DXpedition was about?
Yeah, I have two the expedition on the water. One from Achziv Island, the Mediterranean Sea, and one from the Dead Sea. Actually, last year. So I'll start with the Achziv. In 1992, when the IOTA, Island on the Air start, was looking for some island that Israel also can get a number, because it just started, and I know we have some island around. So, but the problem that to get number from the RSGB for the Achziv Island, which is near Nahariya, near Lebanon border, this name must be on a map 1 to 1 million. You must show the name Achziv Island. So this time was no internet, no Google. I called my friend from University of Manchester in England. I know they have big maps. Is call sign G3 Zulu Alpha Yankee, and he find this name. So they give us a number, Asia 100. So in September 1992, which was my first time to Achziv Island, 3 people. What we do, we take a battery from the car. I learned that if you take battery from the car, you can work 8 hours on the island, no problem. So you finish the expedition, put the battery back to the car, and you can go back home safely. 2 kilometers from the shore, and the rule of the IOTA, it must be minimum 1.5 kilometers, so it's good, and it's about maybe 500 meter long, and maybe 80 meter, 100 meter the other side. So not big island, and it's only 3 places that you can put station, because part of the island is in water, full of water. So we find the places, and we put 1 station for the Israeli on 40 meter, and 2 station on the HF. We can make 20 SSB and 17 CW. Big pileup. This was our first time. The second time we go in 1993, because if I like to work with the States, I must stay on the island over the night. And if you want to stay over the night, you need permission from the army, and you need also to talk to the Navy to tell them that you are there, because it's close to the Lebanon border, and they are making trips around. So we're also listening on the special frequency for the Navy. So it's a special permission. 1993 we get the permission. So we make many QSO with stateside. Many people happy, I think. So 4X0 AI is just Akhziv Island. The second expedition with water was a year ago. We decided to go to the lower place in the world, in the Dead Sea. So we asked for the call sign 4X 429 Dead Sea, because last year it was minus 429
meters. Yeah, so it's 429 meters below sea level.
That's right. So we got the permission. We organized 6 stations, QRV, and we put all the antennas, all the water. We have 3-element beam. We have the hex beam, big vertical for 80 meters, which worked perfect. It's on the water, just perfect. And also another vertical for 40 meter on the water. So we make in 4 days, about 30,000 QSOs. Unbelievable.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it was unbelievable condition. You think that because it's low, you may be losing condition, but I find out that it's very good because if you are on water, the water give you the best communication.
Now, were you actually in the Dead Sea, or were you in the evaporation ponds, which are on the very south end of the Dead Sea there?
No, we are on the Dead Sea. We have a permission to operate there, and we have איך אתה אומר סוכת מציל באנגלית?
You mean a lifeguard shack where the lifeguard lives on the beach during the summer?
Yeah, lifeguard. We use it, actually it was quite new, and we're lucky to use this one. It's a big one, so we also have small kitchen. People make food and coffee, things like that. And the lady, owner of the shore, was happy because we put this place on the internet. And she got many people. She has 10 simmers, 10 small rooms for rent. So after we move from there, she'll be more very lots of work to do. Till now, it's became famous, because it is in the cluster. Everybody go. It's called Bikini. That's the name of the place. So that's about the 2D expedition, and then I, as I tell you before, I'm looking always for something different. So 3 years ago, I start with the WFF. Israel has about 150 parks. Like in America, they call it NPOTA.
Israel has national parks.
National parks, and also Europe has national parks. So together with the European, we start the expedition, the operation of the parks.
Right, but the WFF means like World Flora and Fauna.
That's right.
Right, okay.
It's very, very popular in Europe. If you open 2 frequencies every day, always the condition is very bad. 14044 or 14244, always someone stroke P. Italian, Belgium, Holland, many Germans, British, even Japanese, and French, and Swedish, many Swedish, Norway, all Europe, 9 Alpha, very, very popular. I made, listen carefully, 2,500 parks. I received the diploma. 2,500 parks. There's a couple of diplomas they make. We have a special place on that's the people from Belgium make a special www/WFF/log search. So when I operate from park, I upload my QSOs to the log search. So everybody that work me can check in the evening and see if they are in the log. And also they give me a points. See? So I'm on the top of the ASIA, activity. So that's WFF, and then they start at the beginning, condition going down. So looking for something that I can still work, because they see only in 2021 condition is back to the normal. So I start PSK 31. Then it was slowly. So people moved to PSA 63. It's doubled, much better. And then K1JT, the professor, start with a WSJTX, a JT65. Something unbelievable. This software with 10 watts, it's so sharp, so it's behave like using 1 kilowatt. Receive and transmit. Do you hear about JT65?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a really slow mode.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened? I agree with you. I make 10,000 QSO with JT65 in 1 year. So I tell you, 1 month, maybe a few weeks ago, I heard about the FT8, Fox Tango 8. So immediately I switched to the FT8. It's much, much better, because JT65, I can make 3-minute QSO. Every QSO 3 minutes. This 1 minute QSO. Very quick. And unbelievable results. For example, this morning I opened 20 meters, nothing. I switched Fox Tango 8 called CQ, answer me VK, ZL, Japanese, and if you hear you hear the band, you just hear slowly some whistle, and with this whistle make you QSOs, and good one, because you must first you make his report, your report. And then you say RRR, yeah, Roger, and you must say 73s. If you not make two reports, 1 RRR and 73 is not contact. When I started, I don't know it from the beginning, so I lost QSOs. People say, no, it's not not good. You don't make QSO. If you not make 73 in the end, let's make good contact. So I make in maybe 3 weeks, I make maybe 300 QSOs, but not every day.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You know, when I first met you, it was at the club station in Reut, Maccabee, and at the time you showed me that you had a briefcase that you carry around with you everywhere.
Yeah.
What's in that briefcase now?
Now I have 2 of them. Because one time I was with this suitcase in Herodion. You know Herodion?
Sure.
And I have some problem. Cannot transmit with the 7,000. It's just 7,000 and power supply and antenna tuner. And I have spider beam vertical. So from 1 meter, it's open to 8 meter. 1 meter to 8 meter. And I have just the inverted V, or G5RV. So after this, what happened in Herodion, I buy also 7100 in another suitcase. So I always take 2 of them. I used to take this 7,000 with me every place in Israel and in the world. Always with me, a small one. All I have to do is just connect to battery or connect to power supply, and
you're on the air.
Yeah, I have small G5RE and the small. Always a place to put on the tree of in the hotel. In the hotel, what I'm doing always, I put the G5 above the something with water. Something.
The swimming pool.
Swimming pool, yeah. And in the night, always in the night, always you can wake QSO CW on 40. 40, by the way, 40 meter became the best band. I can see it all the expedition because this is a stable band. Always when it's 6 o'clock, when it's start dark, 6 o'clock in the evening to 6 o'clock in the morning, always condition on 40 meter. It's unbelievable. In Israel, we start with European, and then 11 o'clock in the evening, Japanese coming until 1 o'clock. Then the Japanese disappear, and stateside coming, 1 o'clock local. 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning stateside. And 3 o'clock, it's about 1.5 hours before sunrise, we start to get the real DXers, Charlie Echo, Charlie X-Ray, VP2, J6, things like that. This 40 meter, always the best band.
If you had a crystal ball, if you were able to look into the future, what do you think ham radio in Israel is going to look like in 10 years?
I think first we have to... The problem is that this 3 years until 2021, I think many people maybe they have to change they may change the hobby, at least the new one, the newcomer. We have about maybe 20 people, 30 people, new one making examination every year. And they're making examination, coming on the air, starting with simple dial, nothing heard. So maybe survive only the people with good antennas will survive, I think. Or they are smart enough to switch to the digital mode. Digital mode, I think this is thanks to K1JT. It's a big help. Also to me. I also think about what to do with the next. And what's amazing was a no condition. Last weekend was the RTTY contest. Usually when you open now 15 meter, dead. But what happened last weekend, RTTY WW contest, 15 meter was open all day, also in the afternoon stateside. It was Saturday, Sunday. And when the finished the contest, Monday, again dead. Something amazing happening. Something, I don't know how to explain. Do you know any explanation?
Well, I have no explanation, but, one of the things that I hear from you, Dov, and this is why it's such a pleasure to talk to you, and that is that you're a guy that's not stuck on one band or one operating mode. You'll do anything, including DMR, by the way.
Yeah.
And because of your love of the hobby, I think that's probably why you probably are the most well-known Israeli ham radio operator in the world. Because anybody that I run into, they all go, "Oh, do you know Dov 4Z4DX?" I said, "Well, sure. He's very well known in Israel, but you're also very well known around the world." Do you think that our building these DMR systems and these link systems in Israel, do you think that might have give some of the newer hams that are coming on board a chance to at least work people around the world until the band comes back?
No, I don't think so. Because they call. It's like the activity on the HF, but HF no activity, no condition. DMR and VHF, UHF, we have everything. We have condition, we have equipment, we have everything what we need. Repeaters, but what's happening right now? I have DMR. I can open now DMR. I show you. I can call. Nobody answer. So. Really?
It's a little frustrating, isn't it?
Yeah. I call. See, anyone on frequency? QRZ for Z4DX on the DMR. I can call like this all day. Nothing to do. So.
Do you connect to the international hub?
No call, nothing. You mean the www? I have everything. everything.
I think this is an interesting problem, and this is why I see that Oftentimes, new hams are even frustrated by 2 meters and UHF, if that's the place they're starting. What advice would you give to new or returning hams to the hobby right now?
I make examination. I'm one of the VEC volunteer. So that first of all, I met many new people, and most of them is retired. In Israel, what happened? What happened was the children. They get the license, but then going to the army and make family and jobs. So you find them on the air after many years. But what's happened? Many retired people that they dream. I heard them. Oh, it was my dream. I was in Chalakesha. I was in the army. I was there. It was my dream. So we have in the internet, YouTube, the Israel Amateur Radio, put on a video 15 lessons for the locals, and they have to pay. They get the password, and they make examination. They don't need CW anymore, but instead of CW, they have some examination. They have examination by me. I check if they are ready to go on the air, and if I say yes, I sign on it, send to the Ministry of the Communication, and they give them the license. So I meet so many nice people. I make it 3 years now. 20 people, unbelievable engineers, and people that was in Mossad, people that was a big manager somewhere, or really even one of them have a small ship. So with this ship, we decide to go back to Achziv, by the way, maybe in the near future. He's licensed, and he sleep in the ship, by the way, here in Herzliya. he got a license 1 month ago. My advice, always I give them advice, what will be the call sign? What I think it will be. So I asked him to get Radio Navy. So he is now 4X5 Radio Navy. So what I do, I take them first of all with me to the park. I'm going to the park every 2 weeks, or every 4 weeks I'm going to another park, operating portable. So I take them with me. I organize also, we organize 2 times in a year, field day in Israel. In April, and now we have field day in October. 14th of October we have field day. So people coming to the field day, putting the station with the antennas, and also we have now. I started last year in Christmas. In the Christmas, I organized many DXpedition to a church, to the Christian place. Last year was around the Kinneret.
The Sea of Galilee.
Sea of Galilee. We put last year 4 different DXpeditions with antennas, linears, power supplies, everything in a small zimmer, small hotels, and with special call sign. 4 different call sign. One was 4X2 Christmas, 4X7 Christmas, 4X3 Christmas, 4X9 Christmas, and with a special diploma, special award. If you work 2 of those stations, you're allowed to receive nice diploma from the Sea of Galilee. By the way, this is the same what we do in the Dead Sea. Dead Sea also we started. It was the first time. Very nice diploma from the Dead Sea.
And if you bring the diploma to Israel, you can get a free baptism.
Yeah, but no paper, only via internet.
Oh, I see. It's an internet diploma.
Yeah, but you can print it in your home.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, big diploma, and I know very many people. The Christmas, I make it. So I have the diploma here in my computer. All I have to do is to put the call sign and the name and the date. So 200 people last time receive the nice diploma from the people. I see that many Christian people like it very, very much. So this year in Christmas will be double. Will be 8 stations simultaneously, same time, in the 22 to 24 December. Will be 8 stations in Israel with a Christmas call sign from many Christian places. Like Nazareth, like Caesarea, Jerusalem, Mount Tabor, things like that. So I know people are very excited to do it. And also we have another small DXpedition. You hear about Exodus, the ship of the Exodus?
The Exodus ship.
That's right. So this year is 70. These days celebrate 70 years for this ship coming to Israel. It was a big story. So the people rent a ship. There will be 1,000 people on the ship, and there will be a nice communication from the ship to the island, to the Galei Tzahal, to the Voice of Israel. And one of the sons of the people of the Exodus ship will read the paper, the same what his father say. So we have 2 stations active on the air. One from the ship will be 4X70 Exodus, and one from the shore, 4Z70 Arnon. Arnon was the name of the Mossad. This is a place that they speak to from the ships. Arnon was the name of the people that stay in the Mossad, and that's the name. So we had two calls on the air, but this will be in November.
Okay.
So every month it's only, we try to do something for the people, to make it more activity. As the people coming is not the experienced people. We invited the new ones. So the new ones coming and with us together, they start the first time to see what's in the expedition, what is QSL card, what kind of log.
And you're showing them the digital modes as well, so they can be successful.
Yes, and show him what kind of log to put the call sign. What is EQSL? What is LOTW? Things like that. So that's the story. That's the activity. Always something on the air. I'm looking all the time something different, something that's unique. Unique in the hobby.
Well, Dov, I want to thank you so much for joining me on QSO today. I think that anybody that's listening will be delighted to actually hear your voice.
Thank you.
If they haven't met you in person, and hear about what you're doing here in Israel to be Israel's most probably famous ham radio operator.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thanks. 73. That concludes this episode of QSO Today. I hope that you enjoyed this QSO with Dov. Please be sure to check out the show notes that include links and information about the topics that we discussed. Go to www.qsotoday.com and put in 4Z4DX in the search box at the top of the page. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I'm blogging my war experience at qsotoday.com/blog. You may notice that some of the episodes are transcribed into written text. If you'd like to sponsor this or any of the episodes into written text, please contact me. Support the QSO Today podcast by first joining the QSO Today email list by pressing on the subscribe buttons on the show notes page. I will not spam you or share your email address with anyone. Become a listener sponsor monthly or annually by clicking on the sponsor buttons on the show notes pages. Your value for value support is recognized on the QSO Today podcast and in the weekly show notes. Use our Amazon link when you shop on Amazon. Clicking on this link before you enter Amazon will allow Amazon to pay us a small commission on what you purchase. This is a very painless way to support the QSO Today podcast. QSO Today is syndicated on every podcast platform, including Spotify and the iTunes Store. Until next time, this is Eric 4Z1UG 73. The QSO Today podcast is a product of KEG Media Inc., who is solely responsible for its content.